to the Fringe Podcast presented by Imperial Golf. I am your host, Brandon Trytek, here with JT Watch and Jon Snyder in a very special episode because we have our first ever guest, Jake Englebrake.
What episode is this? What number?
I think it's number 5.
It's 5.5.
5.5.
5.5.
Because we already
You
recorded
understand
half
where
an
I'm
episode.
Take 2.
And Joe forgot to record the audio.
Yeah.
Now we had to start over.
Yeah.
It's all good.
We've been here for 2.5 hours doing this and
Yeah.
starting all over.
I am schnockered.
Yeah. Hope nobody's got plans because we're going to be here forever.
The longest hour
Our
of my
2 listeners
life.
did not keep listening if this
They
was
fell
live.
asleep.
They would have been done.
That or they're crying laughing. So let's get going.
Oh, man.
So,
Ridiculous.
Jake, thanks
Yes.
for coming on.
How you?
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
You just got here, I'm sure.
I did, yeah.
Just
We
walked
haven't
out.
been here a while.
I'm sorry I'm late, guys.
Let's all just
Should've
drink
been
a
here
lot.
later.
Let's drink so much that we forget who he is. And this will sound genuine. Hey, who are you?
Like Jake.
Well, anyway, we were just talking about the Amateur Players Tour that you are associated with, represent. We trashed on Golf Week for a little while.
Oh my God.
Just completely.
Did
So
you
we'll
not-
edit
Did
that
you
out.
not catch the
Oh,
memo?
no, I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
It wasn't
They're
that bad.
lovely people.
You can cut that out. No, great organization. They do good work. It's just some things maybe could be done better. Anyway, Amateur
Really?
Players
Oh,
Tour.
God, this guy.
Clearly, it's
Talk
a tour.
about beating a dead horse, man.
All right. Well,
Hey, beating a dead horse is better than betting on one.
Yeah, well.
There you go.
Hey,
Words
one-liner.
of wisdom
There's a
for ya.
one-liner moment for you.
It's actually a
Flip that.
Reliant K song title. But anyway,
It is.
Amateur Players Tour. A tour for amateur players.
yeah. Yes. Please and only.
Yes. So how can people kind of find out more information and kind of get involved with the tour that you guys got going on there?
This is just so fabricated. That's so funny.
Epic failure.
Oh. So they can go to Amateur Players
Is this a
Tour.
new tour for PGA Tour players?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This is the 3rd installment.
Yep. It's the Amateur Live Tour.
Screw the Live Tour.
Yep. We got Country Club adjacent out there doing back offs and everything else in our pro-ams. Or our AMs. I guess they're all AMs.
Or amateurs.
Yeah. So, yeah, our website's amateurplayerstour.com, or they can find us on Facebook, Amateur Players Tour, or Amateur Players Tour Kansas City for my chapter.
And how many tournaments do you guys run? What's kind of like the schedule from beginning to end? What does the season look like?
So we typically start off end of April. I don't do tournaments. I don't even like to play golf when greens are punched and aerated, so we don't do tournaments when they're aerated.
Oh, good.
So it's always been a rule of mine. So we start April 30th at Falcon Lakes. So that event is sold out right now at 88 players.
Cool.
There is a waiting list available. People will drop. It's inevitable. Somebody will have something come up. So
Sure.
still a month and a half away.
Sweet. I can still get in.
Guests, almost. Guests are allowed. But yes, please don't be a teaching professional or get paid to teach golf.
Right. Yeah. I
Oh,
know.
man,
I
I'll
wish
just
we
go
could
out
play
and
in
shoot
it.
87. We'll be fine.
So yeah, I mean and we go through for us end of August, essentially kind of right when everybody starts to aerate the greens. Again, our tour championship this year is at Stone Canyon on August 28th, and so
Great golf course.
I love that course.
That's a great track.
And the greens are hard enough. You try to do a tour championship there on punch greens, it sucks. So
Sure.
And bent grass.
yes,
Yeah.
I love bent grass so
Love
much.
bent grass.
Zoysia sucks.
I don't mind Zoysia. When I was a picker, I really liked Zoysia. Now I'm not a picker. I like bent grass a lot more.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah,
I have literally never been that.
no.
No.
I was a picker growing up, and then
Always
I got-
compressed it to excessive amounts
I
Same.
went
because I was
extreme.
steep, but I learned how to compress it.
Yeah, I went.
Zoysia
Just like sweet potatoes at Texas Roadhouse, smothered and covered.
Yep.
You just
or Waffle House.
no.
They do the same thing at Waffle House
Oh, they do.
on your hash browns.
Like with cigarette butts. and-
Absolutely. I love the Waffle House.
I used to play a 64-degree wedge, and I'd hit it like full swing from like 70 yards, and the divot that came from that thing, the Phil Mickelson grind, Callaway 64-degree. I mean, that
You
It
didn't
sawed
even
your
hit
yard with
yourself
it.
in the face. That's amazing.
I didn't. I didn't. But
Right in the
I
nose.
mean, every time I take a divot, I'm like, the club is not that wide. How is the divot 9 inches wide? How is that even possible?
Could bury a small
When
cat.
it's 4
Dude, just-
inches deep,
It would be. I mean, massive.
burying a grave for your
yeah.
golf ball.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I could start new golf courses. I mean, it was like literally transplanting the turf to another golf course. It was that bad.
New style of dirt work company.
Yeah.
The
So
whole line
before-
of guys hitting flop shots.
I was a landscaping guru.
Yeah.
There you go. Before we rebooted, we were
Drainage.
talking a little bit about like the handicap stuff and how you guys are monitoring that, and, like going off of USGA or something like that. So
We
Yes.
talked about this.
We did a little bit.
seems familiar.
You were looking at your pizza phone.
Yeah. I still am.
So we had we've got 5 different divisions, and what I was talking about as far as our handicap not being so black and white is, you know, if somebody's new to the tour, we have what you call like when you're vetted, right? So you basically have 7 events with us. We consider that kind of a vetted player, right? Your handicap is established with us.
Yep.
So as far as flight movement goes, that, you know, again, if you're always there at like so our cutoff may be 13.4, right? For Division 3 to 4.
Okay.
So you're riding that like 14, but you've been improving, you're trying to get better, but you're still riding that 14, 14.2, whatever your index is. And you have the best round of your life, and it bumps you to, 13.4, 13.3. We may not move you right away because it's the
Right.
best thing now. But if you're vetted with us and we see that you have steadily improved, okay, your goal is obviously to get to the next division. So we'll move you up. If you've got 2 or 3 events with us, and I mean, I've had guys that have shot 90, 90, 80. Like the guy's like just thrilled. It's like, I've never broke 80 I've never shot 80 my entire life.
Yeah.
He's super excited. Well, then we can start researching. Have they played tournament golf anywhere else? Do they have a gin? Do they have anything like that we can look at and go,
Cool.
man, the guy's index is 16 on every other thing. Like his best one is 16. We don't want to punish him for having the best score of his life.
Right.
And we might see what he shoots the next couple events. And so we're not going to try to just throw somebody out right away because, if the guy shoots 80 one time, it's the only time he's ever shot 80
Right.
or anywhere close to 80, and then you throw him up a division based on that 180 score because that could move people 2 divisions,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then he's just going out there and just getting the crap.
Yeah,
kicked
that's
out
the
of him.
problem with the handicap system, man. I mean, it's really easy to lower your handicap. One low score and it just plummets. And so that's really cool that you guys are looking at it more pragmatically and saying like, okay, like he had one good round. Let's see what he does in the next 2 or something. And
Yeah.
because it's just logical to think like we know this obviously as coaches that you play to a 10 to 15 stroke window as a golfer, no matter how good or bad you are.
Right.
Like you're going to have variations.
A lot of people don't know that.
Well, I mean, it's logical. Like, when you get people in here that are like, I'm just not very consistent, and they're like, I shoot 90 to 97. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? That is as consistent as it gets, man.
Yeah.
You're just not very good.
Watch Pat Perez.
Yeah. Your bracket sucks. But
You're not the 80 to 85 player.
7 strokes is normal.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
You're really consistent. You're just
Yeah.
not very good.
You're just bad.
I have a bigger variation than that on front 9 to back 9.
No kidding. Yeah, we've all been through that. But that's really neat that you guys kind of take a deeper look at it. And so what are the windows of handicaps like as far as divisions goes then?
So Division 1 is going to be 3.4 and below.
Oh, okay.
And Division 2 is 3.5 to 8.4. Division 3 is 8.5 to 13.4. Division 4 is 13.5 to 18.4. And Division 5 is 18.4 and above.
So did you guys establish that? Or
It's kind of been a tweak off of what we, like Golf Channel, when they did it, that was
Golf Channel Am
yeah,
Tour.
the AM Tour.
Yeah.
That was similar to how they did it.
Okay.
Similar to how Golf Week did it. It just seems to kind of work, as far as in that range,
Right.
in those numbers. So they're all very consistent. They're all very similar in those numbers.
That's still operating? Golf Channel Am Tour? Or is
Yeah,
that
it's called the
dissipated?
US AM Tour now. And,
Oh, that's
a new guy bought it.
Oh, yeah.
Him and another guy bought it.
Oh, okay.
Was that
So-
kind of the beginning of Am? Well, like
No, Golf
large
Channel is
scale
actually
Am Tours?
Golf Channel is actually the oldest one. The Golf Channel Tour is.
That's what I'm saying.
Or no, sorry, Golf Week.
Oh, Golf Week.
The Golf Week is actually the oldest
Okay.
amateur tour. Yep. Golf Channel kind of jumped on board with it when
Yeah.
Golf Week was taken off and they had the pull, right? So when I was with Golf Week, we used to say we've got 1,000 more players and one less TV channel. That was kind of the joke.
Yeah.
So was that just a publisher that you were working with then, the Golf Week magazine?
No,
or-
so actually it was the Golf Week tour, and then they used to publish their own little deal, and then the magazine USA Today bought the magazine and made the magazine really nice, right? Made it a nice magazine. So just the name was affiliated at that point.
Okay.
So
Gotcha. Because when we met, like, you were obviously still working for them. Were you a part of the publication, or were you
No.
just okay?
none of the directors were. So I was essentially, it's kind of like a franchise, except it wasn't as simple as a franchise. Like, now I own the Amateur Players Tour in Kansas City. Like,
Okay.
that's my franchise. If I wanted to sell it, I could sell it.
Gotcha.
With Golf Week, they would just, like, if you said something mean about his wife, they would just pull the tour from you, type of thing, and leave you hanging.
Oh, geez.
So that's
okay.
kind of how it was there. It was very much, like I said, they controlled everything, and if you had something that they should have thought about, then they would take it and run with it and leave you without anything. So, like, if you had a good opportunity to make some money, no, not using our name, we'll do it, and they make the money. So that's
Having good ideas wasn't necessarily something you wanted to broadcast.
And they didn't, you couldn't tell them anything.
Play dumb.
You couldn't tell them anything. You couldn't give them any advice. It was their way or the highway type of thing, and that's what I really like about the Amateur Players Tour is not only do we do, so our owners, Matt and Jody, at our national championship every year, and even some of the majors, they'll do an open forum with the members.
Oh, cool.
You come in, they sit up front, and they open it up to ask questions, make suggestions, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so all those things go into account. And I mean, there's being a newer tour, we've obviously all been, some of these guys have been running, amateur events for 15 or 20 years that are now directors for us.
Sure.
Some of them have been playing it. Matt played mini tours, played in Myrtle Beach, mini tour out there in South Carolina. So he's kind of seen everything from the semi-professional level all the way down to amateur level, and has an idea of what works and what doesn't work. But we're never going to get it perfect, and it's not going to be perfect for everybody. That's the thing. Some golfers want, well, I wish you would do this. Yeah, but then that's going to upset all these other people, and we have to do what's best for the whole, right? It's the best that we can. So it's never going to be perfect, but we do listen to people's and players' advice. And as far as directors go, we all have Zoom calls. It used to be weekly, and now that we've got kind of established and up and running, it's about once a month we do a Zoom call. And so that's nice because when I was at Golf Week, Matt was the only director I knew,
Oh, wow.
And so I went to 3 national championships, and some of the guys now, there was 15 of us that came from Golf Week, and I knew those guys, I should say,
Sure.
for 6 years while I ran Golf Week and never met them. and I've met and talked to those guys, I don't know how many times now that are over, so it's just kind of weird, but it's a good community on the Amateur Players Tour side. And I don't mean that on a player level, just a player level. Like Golf Week, Dave's doing a good thing with Golf Week. They've got a good community with his players, right? It's just, it's different than what we do. I think it's a little less serious than what we do, but we're not like Central Link serious, right? Like,
yeah, you're kind of a good in between.
Yeah, we're a good in between.
Yeah.
It's not skins games with your buddies,
Right.
but it's not like, hey, if you're not out there shooting 65, you're not competitive.
Official sanctioned stuff,
Right.
And
we travel, that's one of the greatest things is Matt and Jody have done a fantastic job with just branding the Amateur Players Tour right off the bat and developing national partnerships. So, Turtleson Apparel, if you know anything about golf apparel, you know who Turtleson is. Mm-hmm. They make some of the best golf shirts I've ever worn. Our players get 40% off Turtleson Apparel. So we open actually a store, an Amateur Players Tour Turtleson store 5 times a year for them, and they get 40% off during that time. So guys will order, excuse me, Turtleson actually had to bring on extra staff because I think we increased their volume by like 30 or 40%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's a lot of people, though.
It is.
You're talking.
Yeah.
How many members total?
Would be a little over, I think right around 4,000, a little over 4,000 this year.
Yeah.
That's nationwide.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so 2 Under, Jack Curry does an awesome job with 2 Under. He's their marketing guy. And he's all in. He plays in our events and everything else. He was all in. He loves it. And again, the camaraderie, the fellowship between the directors, the players when we travel, it's awesome. And so 2 Unders on there. Our members get 20% off 2 Unders. Scony Shoes, which is one of Jack's best friend's son, and his friend came up with the Scony Shoes. They won the best new product at the PGA show this year. And so I have a pair of them that I've worn. They're pretty sick, comfortable. They look like Hey Dudes, but they're like a reinforced Hey Dude. So they're very casual, but they have soft spikes underneath them. They're like spikeless, I guess you
It's a
could say.
golf shoe?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's a golf shoe that looks like a Hey Dude, so like you can walk off
We're
the
out
golf
of touch.
course.
Sorry.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adidas.
So yeah, you can walk off the golf course and go out to the bar with your buddies or whatever, and just look like you're wearing Hey Dudes. So
That's cool.
yeah, so we've got a bunch of really good partnerships that Matt and Jody have done an excellent job developing with all these different companies.
Yeah.
That are a huge benefit to our members. And that's all part of your membership, right? So that's a little more value to your membership, where the other tours you pay. Some of them you don't get anything. Some of them you get a hat from a championship 4 years ago. Not going to name names. So
It's a Super Bowl hat for a team that didn't win.
yeah.
That Buffalo Bills dynasty was amazing, man. 4 straight.
I actually met the guy that prints all the stuff for the
Yeah.
big events. And
Really?
Yeah, and he had it was after one of the, I think it was a Super Bowl, and his car was full of the losing team stuff. And he goes, "Oh yeah," he goes, "I have all the preprint stuff for winning and losing teams." And I was like, "No, it was the NCAA championship. It was when it was here in Kansas City."
Oh,
And he had his car was all full of like the losing team stuff that they would give to the players.
so Gonzaga.
So he was like,
It'd be
it
great,
was like
it'd be
7
great
years
if you
ago,
got
10 years
like
ago.
a ton of people to wear it and just confuse the shit
National
out of everybody.
champions.
Well, there's a
Like, wait, what?
there's a comedian that talks about this because the company that makes all those for Super Bowls and stuff like that, they'll ship them to third world countries.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've heard that.
they do. They
yeah.
get because otherwise they go to you can't sell them
Right.
legally. They can't sell them.
They can't do anything with it. So
Even,
they just
even
donate
for,
it, which is
even
great.
to cover cost.
No, can't sell them.
Nope.
Oh wow.
Yep, legally branded. So he gave me a hat,
Yeah.
and I don't know where it's at. Sorry if you're listening to this somehow. I think he was from like Washington or Seattle or something like that, Portland or wherever he was at.
Makes sense.
But yeah, it was kind of funny. I was like, "Why do you have?" They didn't win. He goes, "Yeah, I have the print company," and I'm like, "Oh." He goes, taking all the other stuff back home. And I'm like, "I gotcha." He's like, "You want a hat?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I got a hat from the losing team.
Clearly, a lot of your the culture of it's really good. And
Yeah.
it's always crazy to me, just like running a small business, how that really trickles down
Yeah.
and to the whole experience.
Oh, I've got a handful that are
how
on
the
your
people
tour.
care. But
Mm-hmm.
Quite a few players actually. That
isn't
play in those.
Rocky?
Yeah, Rockies.
Yeah, Rocky.
Talked to him earlier today, actually.
He's a confident fellow.
I love Rocky.
He's a big personality. He's a fun guy
Yeah,
to work
he
with,
took he
though.
took a while.
Yeah.
He
Yep.
took a while, but
He's a
he's
good dude.
he's harmless, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just a loyal guy, and then honestly, like the aggressive personality at first, it kind of throws you off. But as I've gotten to know him and his wife Emily, they're great people. I
Yeah.
did a swing analysis with her.
You better watch what you say.
No, I'm just saying.
He's gonna watch this in 4 months from now.
Once it gains traction. No, he is a really awesome dude. Honestly, I really do enjoy working with him, and it's fun to see progressions of guys like that because he's in that kind of 85 to 95 range scoring wise, and so it's really.
But
cool.
he's a good example of like how you can get into competitive golf at relatively any level,
Yeah.
right? And really enjoy it.
You bet.
You can tell it like fires him up. Big
I
time. And
actually played with Rocky like 3 weeks
like,
ago.
a lot of people don't think about how it gives guys like that just a little extra purpose.
Right.
They really enjoy that whole atmosphere and
Yeah, you don't have to be going out to shoot 65
Right.
to really challenge
Which-
yourself. in
no.
this
This is
game.
an important PSA to all of our clients and other golfers around the city. that
Right.
There's a lot of ways you can get involved in competitive golf, and
Mhm.
you don't need to feel some weird pressure that you have to be a certain skill level.
I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, when I'm good enough, I'll
I'm
join.
not good enough, yeah.
Right.
I
Yeah.
just watched you shoot 78. Who are you not good enough for?
Right.
Like, what?
Or even
who do you think is
or
playing
even
on this?
90.
Right.
Right.
It's like that environment teaches you things too that you'll never learn in casual golf.
And it's a good way to scratch the competitive itch. If you don't do anything else competitive,
Yeah.
like I'm on the first tee box, I'm announcing any tour wins and stuff like that you've had. We want the blood flowing, and I don't want it just for the guys that are, scratch golfers. I think
Sure.
You
whether
want
you're
to make them nervous.
yes,
Yeah.
whether you're a scratch golfer or 20 handicap, I want you to get that juice flowing right there on the first tee box.
2
You're-
tour
you're-
wins, 7 shanks in his last event.
Yeah.
I was about to say he's probably more eloquent about it. I would be awful running those events because I would just just totally expose them.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Open
not
mic
the
night.
greatest. I'm that's something
I've
I gotta get
heard
better
you.
about.
You're pro.
I'm pretty brash.
When you have to be. We all have that ability.
yeah.
Be pro when you have to be.
I mean, I like to give people a hard time, and unfortunately, it doesn't bother me. And you treat people a lot of times the way that you expect to be treated, or that, like, I say stuff that I'm like, that why would that bother somebody? And somebody else is like, that's probably going to piss them off. I'm like, seriously? And I don't even think about it sometimes.
Because you would expect them to say that to you.
Yeah, and it wouldn't bother me one bit.
Sure.
But I do
That
have to,
Jake
like,
guy is such a piece
I know.
of shit.
Well, you run into that in golf because, like,
heard that before.
you can run into that
Love
in
you,
golf
bro.
just because of how many different walks of life you have.
Yeah.
You know, like I think a lot of us have, construction, hard labor job type backgrounds, and you certainly run into those types of discussions in those environments.
Oh, yeah.
If you need thick skin in those environments,
Discussion.
and then you take that into the golf course, and it's like, well, you can run into surgeons and teachers and doctors, and I love that that golf presents that. Like,
And everybody handles it differently. Like,
right.
there's stuff that I feel like I could say to, I don't know, Ricky Fowler that he wouldn't worry about. But if I said it to Sergio Garcia, the guy might be in tears.
He would. He'd,
You know,
yeah.
And I
Or he
don't.
would
Well,
spit
maybe
in a
less
cup.
Sergio. Now.
Right.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
Patrick Reed. maybe.
Patrick Reed.
No, Patrick would sue you.
Yeah.
Yeah. His caddy would try to fight you first.
Yeah. And then they'd have your family outlawed from watching any of their events.
I'd have to stop watching Live Golf. Oh,
Dang it!
it's so much fun.
I gotta take
watching
my
guys that
CW
don't
off of
care
basic
about golf.
cable.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you're a Live fan. I am not a Live fan. I'm okay with what PGA Tour has done in response to it for the most part. I think it should have happened earlier, but at the same time, holy crap, it's so boring to watch. I cannot get into.
I was
The
gonna
only thing I
say-
like about the Live Tour is literally watching the country club adjacent guys give people a hard time in the stands, like walking around and.
I
you
honestly
know.
haven't wathed much of it.
I haven't. Yeah, I don't
So I've-
watch.
I've just
I don't
had
watch
this-
regular golf.
I've watched more
Indifferent
YouTube of the
opinion.
country club adjacent guys at the Live event than I've ever watched Live on TV.
Yeah. And it's been rolling for a little bit.
Yeah.
So we've had this discussion before, and I'm curious what your take would be because aside from the majors and like the Players is on this weekend, that's a big event. I have a hard time getting invested in just like the typical PGA Tour stop. Where the Honda last week in Florida. Like from a
Arnold Palmer.
broadcast standpoint, do you think there's ways to improve golf visually? Like how you, because that's the one critique I hear about Live all the time. It's like it's so boring. I don't get it. And I'm like, so is regular golf. To
Right.
me, like I'm not invested in regular PGA Tour stuff
So
either.
we're podcasts that
And I
aren't being
don't really
recorded.
know, right? And I don't really know. Like we've had these talks before, but I don't really know how you would improve it from a broadcast standpoint either.
Yeah, I don't know that you can. I love watching. My wife gives me a hard time. She's like, seriously, you just finished like golf, just got off TV, and now you're watching YouTube golf, right? It's like, well, I watched skilled golf. Now I'm watching entertaining golf,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And like Fat Perez is probably my favorite YouTube golfer. Like the
a
guy,
funny guy.
is hysterical.
Yeah.
I actually challenged him and Bob Does Sports, but they know who I am. Anyway,
Sure.
I said I'll be.
Oh, they will after this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like my team's Fat Perez, So, but it was I enjoy watching those guys because of the comedic humor. I think having the players walk down the course and have the microphone in or whatever the headphones in and talking to them.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. But those guys are so focused in the moment. It's
Right.
really hard. I think the biggest thing that you got to do is you got to get guys like James Nitties off of ESPN Plus covering the first 4 hours where nobody watches it in the middle of the day. You need to get that guy on like main TV, right? He needs to be one of the main commentators. If you've never heard him, he's hilarious.
Okay.
Like it just needs people
Well,
like that.
Commentating's a huge part of the
Right.
viewability.
Exactly. And
Like because it's like everything.
right. And
The golf
unfortunately,
being
like
recorded on its own isn't the exciting part.
Yeah, the 60-year-old white man that's been announcing for 30 years is kind of like,
Yeah.
I could probably use somebody new at this
Just
point.
offended
Right.
all 60-year-old white men.
I'm almost one of them. So
Didn't Liv hire David Faraday? Didn't they,
They
get
did,
him?
yeah.
yeah, he was one of the ones I missed the most.
Same.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
know, and he
I
was
love his take.
yes,
But what pissed me off is just the sensitivity stuff. Like, he openly talked about that's kind of why he took that contract. And just like he can go and say what he wants to. And I never thought I'd miss Milk Faldo until CBS hired Trevor Immelman.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I'm like,
That's true.
really?
Yeah.
Faldo for a while. Yeah, Faldo got kind of old because it was always about him.
It was
It's
no
always
different than
like-
Johnny Miller. Like,
Oh,
well, you know,
Johnny
that's no
Miller.
63 at the U.S. Open. Like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Or
Like,
or that's
know.
how
not,
many times do we have to hear this story, dude?
Yeah.
or that's not how I would play that. It's just like cool. Inform us, Nick.
Well, they got rid of Roger Maltby. I liked him.
I did too.
I
yeah.
think they got rid of the two best guys. They didn't renew either one of their contracts. I'm like, those are
Yeah.
the only two guys I really enjoyed.
Right, Roger and why am I spacing on his name all of a sudden? Yeah, they and they. I think they both sued the company
I hope they won because
for ageism stuff.
so
Obviously,
they James Denny's he's a PGA Tour player. He was right.
Oh,
He's
okay.
from Australia.
there you go. Sense of humor.
Yeah, he did PGA Tour, Corn Ferry Tour.
He could be a commentator without F words. That's amazing.
Well, he's on ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
The Ocho.
Yeah.
You know, who knows?
That needs to be a real thing. Like, get that guy Bob Menery on there, and just let the F-bombs fly.
Right. Minner I could take for a little bit, but Nitty's is just like funny because he's played at a high level, right? So he does understand it, and but he's just got a different take, and it's more, it's more comedic, but it's it's just lively because
Yeah.
golf is not again, it's not an action sport, right?
Right.
So, and if you have a guy that's talking to you, like, oh, look at the putt here, oh, it was right the whole
And it
way.
encourages the
It's
stupid
like, oh
golf
my gosh,
claps
I am
and all that.
tired.
Yeah.
Like, you are putting me to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I want
great
the
for
guy
a
that
nap.
goes, did he not realize the green breaks to the left there? Like, how do you miss it that far? Like, I want somebody that just says
Yeah,
stuff like
just
that, right?
completely
I mean, and
yeah.
you get injections of excitement with environments like the Ryder Cup and the Waste Management
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
Right.
there are moments where you're like, "This is how golf should be always."
Have you ever watched a
Like-
Formula One race?
Oh, he's a
don't
big
even get me
Formula
started.
One guy.
I've been a Formula One nut since a long time.
Who gets more excited about the first 5 seconds of anything in their life than the Formula One announcer?
Oh,
Gus Johnson.
actually, it's so bad that no kidding. Yeah, Big Ten Network, baby.
Yeah.
But
Get Gus
it's
Johnson to
so
broadcast
so
golf.
my wife sometimes watches Formula One with me, but like it's so bad. She's like, "Oh my God, just chill out."
He is so excited, man.
But it's awesome.
I know. Can you imagine what he looks like? in
Oh,
the
they're racing
booth?
out of the first corner. Oh my God, look what's happening! Max Verstappen cuts him off. Oh my God!
Yes, it's
Have
awesome.
you seen those videos where they like put the soccer broadcast
just like-
over the golf?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I always have to turn
Hilarious.
it down. Like, if I'm watching that, I have to like turn down the first lap so my wife can like sleep or whatever she's
It's
doing there,
amazing.
and then I can turn it back up. But it is. He's
I just
so.
hit rewind because I'm like, I want to watch the start again.
I've
the
never,
most
I've been-
excited I've
I've
ever
never
heard
heard
John.
anybody so happy to be somewhere
Yeah.
than that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know if he's watching on TV or if he's at the event. Nobody's ever been more excited.
Losing their shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
No doubt. But that's part of
At
it.
the
That's
start.
also the nature of a Formula One race start is a very exciting moment.
Yeah.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
it's full of drama.
The whole race is exciting. I love
is.
Formula One so
So
much.
take that concept, have 14 players on the first tee hit the same shot at the same time.
Yeah.
Speed golf. Speed tour golf needs
all,
to be a thing.
while all screaming.
Just have Bob Parsons in the
Yeah.
background.
16th hole at TPC. Everybody's just throwing beer bottles at him while they're running.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I have to imagine in the next decade plus, like golf will evolve very slowly because it always does. But there's going to be some more of that, and I think same as you, dude. I'm curious to see that Liv has actually facilitated some changes. It has
yeah.
forced the PGA Tour, and I mean honestly, like I'm kind of tired of the interviews stuff and the players talking about it. Like I'm over it. We get it. We've heard your opinion a dozen times. Like let's move on. And the media is just, that's their clickbait, if you will. But no, I'm with you. I think the changes it's going to facilitate is going to be for the better. So,
I mean, Live Golf is just losing money hand over fist.
well,
That's not
their
just
big
right.
deal was trying to get a TV contract, and for a minute there, Fox I think was interested, and clearly somebody.
Their ratings, it's like,
There are none.
I think there's more people that watch reruns of The Bachelor than
I would guarantee you there are.
Live Golf. I don't even know if that show's still on.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it is.
I'll text my wife.
My wife still watches. I'm ashamed.
I'm not sure which
That's
one's
actually
worse.
why I locked her out of the house earlier.
I'm not sure which
I'm
one's
not watching this again.
live golf on TV. I just can't get into the golf. I just can't get into it, man. The team, like
That's the thing I don't get.
we have the Champions Tour, like that's kind of where they go when they're not that competitive anymore. But now there's like Live Tour, where it's like, I'm Brooks Koepka. I don't care. I'm Dustin Johnson.
Well,
Before
I
it
don't
was
care.
European
millions of
Tour.
dollars.
Millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I got to go there.
Guaranteed money.
Yeah, you're going to pay me more to play less.
Right.
Okay, I'm in.
At least DJ was honest about that part.
Right.
Like he
But I
was
think,
one
like-
of the few guys that was like,
Like Cam Smith, that drives
it's a
me
lot of
nuts.
money.
Like Cam Smith was such a good player, and you just ruined. Like you'll never
Right.
have a legacy now.
Right. Yeah. That
You know?
that one was the one of the few that I was like, dang.
Everybody else,
sucks.
I don't give a shit about moving.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm with you.
Half of them, I don't know who they are. I didn't know they were on tour. I don't.
yeah.
Right.
Chase Koepka,
Outside of the-
like I thought he just was a caddy and YouTube golfer. I didn't even know the guy played professional golf. He's terrible.
I don't think he did. And
He's
I don't
on-
think you can define that he is playing professional golf now.
He's doing something with golf. Ain't carrying his brother's bag anymore. But
I mean, the real definition is going to be whether or not the world golf rankings even entertain it, which it doesn't sound like they are as long as this goes.
right.
You know, and I think was it Fitzpatrick that was talking about it because their contracts are going to be up here after year 2, and a lot of guys are going to be like, okay, well, we'll just go back to PGA Tour, and
Ain't happening.
he was like, yeah,
Well,
ban them.
yeah.
And you can't sue him. You're an independent contractor.
They already tried,
Yeah. They owe you nothing.
right?
If you came work for me and I fired you, if you were a contractor that you violated my terms of my agreement,
Right.
Yeah.
okay, you know, because the
So they're
thing is,
taking a huge risk.
well, I think the issue with it is just like me being a contractor, and we'll sub stuff out to people. I can't tell my 1099 employees, my independent contractors, I can't control who they work for, what they do, right?
Sure.
I can't. But at the same time, if I'm feeding you work and you're making money, and then when you should be at one of my jobs, you decide you're going to go take another job, and I needed you at this job,
You
or I
have
wanted
no-
you at this job, I can easily just say, okay, we're done.
You have no obligation.
Oh, yeah,
That's
relationship
because
over.
they have none to you either.
Right. And
It is kind of mutual.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't really see where they had really a chance to sue to come back and play or anything else. It's like
Yeah,
you're an independent contractor for a guy that said, hey, if you go do this with these people, I'm no longer going to utilize your services.
Mm-hmm.
sure. Which
Well, and they have
I mean, I'm sure it's more in
Much-
depth.
they have plenty big list of
I just thought the way the
key
PGA
players
Tour handled it was really petty and childish. And I think, honestly, like, if they go and do that, great. And if they want to try to come back to the PGA Tour, then you just start them all over again. Like, cool. Yeah, you got to go to the Corn Ferry then and qualify and do all that stuff, because you're getting money from them.
Yeah.
You have to pay to do that, right? Because, yeah, if they're a 1099 and, like, I don't understand the issue they took with, like, okay, if they do this, we're banning you from everything. It's like, it's another tour that they're trying to use, no different than the European Tour, right? And at first they used the moral posturing argument, which was just nonsense, because the European Tour wouldn't exist without Saudi money, so get over yourself.
Right.
And then beyond that, if these guys who, a lot of them did start on the European Tour, Brooks was one of them, right? Well, then they're utilizing that to develop and then come over to the PGA Tour. So this whole loyalty thing, like Jack Nicklaus used that term, I'm like, what loyalty? You're a business. You're not loyal to these guys.
Right.
It's cutthroat. They either can play or they can't. So my thought is, if they want to come back, great. They got to start all over then. They have no PGA status. You got to go back through the Corn Ferry system. And if you're good enough, great. We'll entertain that thought,
I think part of it with the PGA was just trying to me, it seems like they didn't care about like the DJ leaving, right? Like DJ was kind of checked out.
Well, most of them were 40 and older. Like, I don't think
Most
they
of
were
them,
too upset
but I think
about
that was the young guys they were trying to.
But yeah, like
the Cam
Bryson
Smiths,
and Cam.
they were trying to
right.
deter those guys from going and say,
Yeah.
hey, you have something to offer. Phil won at 50, great,
Sure.
fun to watch sometimes, great. Guy has a massive gambling problem. Go get your money,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. Go pay your debts.
Yes, go
Right.
get your money. Brooks Koepka, never liked the guy.
Yeah.
He's always been a D-bag to me.
Yeah.
And it's
I'm
like-
with you there.
Okay, go get your money.
that was the summary on Full Swing from
Yeah.
everyone I talked to.
Yeah, you can't. He kind of knows like he's not competing right now. Will he ever be the same after his injuries? I don't know. He's not playing that well over there.
Right.
But he has no reason to now. That's the thing.
Right.
You've taken away the incentives to practice and to work hard. That's just like
You mean because they have a contract?
it's.
Well, they have
think about
guaranteed
it,
money.
free money.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
pretty
what
simple
happens when
at its core.
when you tell people we'll just give
Yeah.
you money.
Yeah.
You lose the incentives to do anything, right? Like, oh, I don't have to actually perform any better than anybody else.
A lot to unpack there.
I know, and I'm not trying to go down that route. I want to, trust me, I want to, but I'm not. That's not what this is. Podcast is about. But it is this. It's very similar. It
Our
is.
22 viewers will cancel us.
It is literally. Hey, you don't have to work that hard because you're going to get paid regardless. Like Pat Perez, the guy is
That
all,
shouldn't be hard
he's
to
all but
understand.
given up on golf,
Yeah.
right? Like he was never that great of a player on tour. I liked Pat.
It's fun to follow.
Yeah, I liked his personality.
You bet. He's a
I
good guy.
like all the stuff he's injected into his wife.
What are we talking about?
Silicone.
His wife has so much plastic surgery. It's not even funny. She's gonna be the next Holly Saunders.
Oh my God!
But
She
those
doesn't
are the
even
guys-
look like a human anymore.
She doesn't.
But those
man.
are the
She
guys
is
Really
that-
sad.
unfortunate looking now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she was really pretty.
Yeah. She is. She is unfortunate.
Even my wife said that she saw 2 pictures of her. She's like, "What? What's the
she,
point?"
She wrecked herself
Yeah.
Who-
It's sad.
who was-
along
was
with
that one of the-
everybody else.
Was that one of the bunnies or something?
Holly,
Holly
Saunders. You don't
Saunders?
remember Holly Saunders? She was
Oh,
on
the Golf Channel.
Uh-huh.
That's
Yeah,
right.
she
I
was-
Played
She
golf
just
at
like
Michigan State.
Brunette
That's right.
chick.
Yeah, she looks like a
Natural beauty.
cosmetic alien or something.
She
But
does.
she looks. It's like freaky.
yeah, she went
Like-
off the deep end.
Yeah.
With
Like
Vegas
Michael
Dave.
Jackson.
Vegas Dave.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. So
But
anyway,
he was one of those guys that it kind of made sense to me. I'm like, he's been on tour for 20 years, grinding
Mhm.
away. Was
Yep.
always kind of the make the cut guy, make some money.
Yep.
And
Not
it was
a long
like,
ball
Get
hitter.
your bag. Like I get it, dude.
Yeah.
Go Lee Westwood. Ian Poulter. Yeah, if you're getting guaranteed money like
he
that,
landed on a good team.
right?
I mean,
DJ
Ian's
carried him.
only relevant
paid.
for Ryder Cups anymore. So
Yeah, I don't think he's relevant for that anymore. Well, he's obviously not now.
No, the Europeans basically were just like, yeah, if you went to live, we're done with you.
Yeah.
So, and I
Yeah.
don't blame them for that
No, I mean, it's
because that's a team dynamic, and you really can't have
Well, you can't blame
a split locker room.
any of the players for promise money. I mean, I don't think anyone.
yeah. I don't blame
don't
them for
think-
going.
Right.
I don't applaud them for going. Right?
Sure,
Like I don't
yeah.
care that they went. I don't applaud like the younger guys. I'm like,
kind
you
of
just- you really just ruined your chance at being. But maybe, but
It's a
at the same
sellout
time,
thing.
if they're younger guys, they're like, I'm never going to be great. Like I'm
Well, yeah.
I'm 180th in the world. I'm
This is
200th
my
in the world.
break.
Yeah, I'm probably
This
never
is
going to
my
win a
big
PGA
break.
Tour event.
Yeah.
I can go get guaranteed $10 million.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's more than I'll probably make in 15 years on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
I mean, you've spent enough time around guys at that level, dude, where there's golfers that can exist on tour, and then there's like the top 50 in the world,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and it is a whole.
A lot of people don't
step.
seem to understand what existing looks like on tour.
Well, no, because like,
Like how awful it can be.
right, and
Sleeping in your car.
Yeah.
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 and
it's
when I worked in
brutal for a lot of
Boston,
guys.
like
Remember
we had
Pipe
some.
Dream on Golf Channel.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
But
Kinda
when I
demonstrated that.
when I worked in Boston, and I looped for a few tour players that came through town, and they would even talk about that, just like how automatic some of those guys are in the top
Mhm.
10, 15, 40 in the world, and they're out there grinding their ass off just to make cuts. And I get it. Like that's got to be incredibly frustrating to be that gifted, that good, and then you get there and they're like, yeah, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it's
then-
something
and then
to be
knowing
able
they're-
to shoot 68 in a tour event alongside those top guys
Right.
and feel like you don't belong.
Yeah, I can't even.
Like that's a
wrap my head around
statement in
that.
its own.
Well,
Like
I mean,
I just shot 4 under at a tour event and I'm not good enough to play with these guys.
One of the
You
guys.
hear that a
One of the guys here was did a U.S. Open qualifier, and I think he shot like 65, 64, and he missed the cut by 2.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've played in that
that's just for the
a
qualifier.
couple times, yeah, and that's a gauntlet.
Yeah.
They're not holding it at Creekmore this year, but they've held it there
It's
last 5
Arbanis
years.
this year again.
Is it?
I think it's Fred Arbanis.
I heard Oakwood.
Oh no, sorry, it is
Flat.
Oakwood.
Yeah, it
The mid-am qualifiers at Fred Arbanis. I think
Okay.
the U.S. Open was at Oakwood.
Yeah,
My buddy Larry's playing in it. He's like, I'm just gonna go have fun, see what happens.
that's all you can do, man. Because I went into that one instead of like the Corn Ferry Monday qualifier, because looking at the years prior, it was like if you can't crack 7 under, you don't get a sniff on the Monday qualifiers,
Mm-mm.
and it's 3 times the
Unless
entry
it was
fee.
Creekmore. Creekmore's 5 under.
Well, the U.S. Open qualifier at Creekmore the 3 years prior, because I did my first one in 2019, and 2 to 3 under was like medalists,
Yeah, at Creekmore. Whew.
like 73 100 plus in May when it's wet and the rough is 8 inches.
Which
thick.
you were
That's
plenty long enough.
that's
for
what I'm saying. Like,
Well, yeah, the length wasn't. It was just experience.
because the
man.
difference
Like,
between they had a qualifier the same year at Iron Horse, and then they had one at Creekmore, and it was like a 6-stroke difference between the two courses. Just goes to show you how hard Creekmore is.
Yeah.
Can be.
it can.
and
yeah.
half the field was over 80.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
and if
there
you're
was-
not a
there was a
professional,
ton
then
of
your
scores.
handicap is
You gotta remember,
1.4
these are-
better.
well, yeah,
Just
so
to
I'm
be in
gonna
the
say,
event.
You have a multitude of 1.4 better handicap shooting 92s.
There were 6 guys that didn't break 90.
Yeah. Well, I played it. So we had a tournament down at
I
Auburn
was
Hills
like,
5 years ago,
get
6 years
that.
ago. And if you've never been in Wichita and played Auburn Hills is Creekmore, and
okay.
it's a harder Creekmore
Wow.
from the standpoint of normally the rough isn't that as long, but
Sure.
the golf course is incredibly well maintained for a public golf course. But it's like
Yeah.
from the tips, you're playing 7,200 yards. It's narrow. There's hazards everywhere. I mean, it's a tough golf course. And we went down there and played it for a tournament. And I, like an idiot, I was in Division I at the time. And there was like 7 of us, 8 of us in Division I is all. I had us all playing the tips the whole way. Said, screw it, we're going to tip it out. Have some fun. Went out there.
Have some fun.
6 holes later.
I hit driver 3-wood, and I think into 3 par 4s.
And you're
Right.
not short.
I was then.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I mean, well, again, spinny driver. So it was like
Oh, that's right.
255
yeah.
off the tee.
Oh, yeah.
And, but,
Should
yes.
be hitting at 310.
Well, I'm playing 465-yard par 4s into the wind,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know? And it's like, I mean, I'm just barely clearing hazards.
Yeah.
Luckily, I was straight. I went
feel
out and
that.
shot, I think, 72 or 74.
Yeah.
And I come into the clubhouse, and the pro there kind of laughed, and he goes, my marshal told me that you had guys at the tips. And I said, yeah. And he goes, we don't even play the Corn Ferry qualifier from there. Well, they had like 5 inches of rain leading up to the tournament, or
Oh,
leading up to
wow.
our tournament.
Yeah.
They hadn't mowed the rough for a week
Oh, my
with all the rain.
And it was wet.
They got the fairways and the greens mowed the morning of our tournament, but they hadn't touched the rough.
You see,
I had probably 25 guys talk about we watched the ball roll through the end of the fairway, never found it.
Right.
Wow.
Well, that's basically what happened when my first qualifier at Creekmore. We had record amounts of rain that year.
was that the one that we almost lost your first tee shot? in the rough?
Yes, we were like on our time limit. They put me off.
That was
10.
after they changed it to 3 minutes, too.
Yes, which I've never been so stressed out for 3 minutes in my life.
No.
'Cause this is my first experience. In
Even I
competitive
was
golf,
stressed, and that's saying something.
and the
'Cause
problem
I didn't
was
give 2 shits.
I didn't slow down. We were like rushing, and I'm like internally panicking. Like I just had my heart in my throat hitting my first tee shot.
and all
we
he
go
did
down
was
there.
blow it through the fairway.
I hit a good shot.
It was a good tee shot.
Yeah, somehow I
was
found the
too
damn club
good.
face.
Yeah.
That extra 20 yards of adrenaline.
It must have been.
It's
And it's a downhill tee shot too on 10 there. But
That was
It just went right
330,
through.
wasn't it?
I don't remember.
23:30.
I mean, it was wet, so maybe not. But I didn't let it cut as much. And we get down there, and I'm like, all of us are looking for it. And now the marshals come back, and I'm just like, oh my god, like we're on our time. And
Yeah.
I think you finally found it, or somebody found it.
You're welcome.
And I was like, oh, thank God. Grab wedge, hit it immediately. And I was like, okay, I didn't
hack
need
it
to
out.
rush then. I
You remember
could've slowed
right after
down.
that shot, what I said to you? Something to the tune of like, all right, so we're just going to calm down now.
Right. Yeah. My
You
heart
need
rate
to-
was just
you
like,
need to- you need to chill your shit
Yeah.
and start playing golf.
rather obvious. Yeah.
I love that golf course.
It is a fun
We need to
track,
take
man.
Brandon there, man. That's
Yes.
Yeah,
One of my
about an
favorites
hour
in
away,
town.
but
I
it's-
played.
They're going private now,
Well, maybe
from what I've heard.
they.
Or
I talked to them
attempting to.
last year. They said they have no intention of ever going private.
Okay. Well,
They have such a high membership as it is.
sure.
They can take public money, and I think they need it because the problem is the members book. When I talk to them, they have an issue where the members will book, and it's husband and wife problem. Like Saturdays and Sunday mornings, they'll book all 4 tee times, knowing it's just husband and wife, and they'll go off twosome after twosome
Oh,
after twosome after twosome
that
after twosome,
sucks.
and they never join up. So like when we had a tournament out there, I was out setting the tees up. I bet I passed 8 groups, and it was twosome husband and wife, twosome husband and wife, twosome husband and wife,
Oh,
all of
man.
them on different holes. I mean, and I was like, let me guess, your tee sheet was completely full, and the guy was like, yep. And he goes, we know it's a problem.
Yeah, you should have to pay to reserve tee times.
And that's what they were going to start doing, was saying, hey, if you reserve all 4 tee times and you don't have 4 people show up, we're going to charge you 2 gas fees.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
you have to at
That's
that
not
point. You got to
unreasonable.
regulate it somehow.
Yeah, I don't whether it's gotten better or not. I
losing
don't
money
know.
then.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gotten any better or
It's
not.
just
But
business.
yeah, I love that golf course.
That's one of my
It's
favorites.
awesome.
We had a funny story about that golf course. Hole 2, hole 2, that it's a short hole.
Yeah.
I hit a 3-wood off the tee down there in the middle of the fairway, and I'm just out playing with some buddies. We're playing 2 days before one of the qualifiers, one of the big events. So they're growing the rough up. Second hole, the hole's on the right, just at the right at the top of that where that little bowl is.
Yep.
All the way over on the right.
Yeah.
And I hit my tee shot down the right side of the fairway. So I got to go up and over the tree. So I rope a sand wedge all the way up and over the tree, lands just past the hole, spins just down the hill to where I can't see it anymore. We think it dropped. I mean, it was coming right back at the flagstick. So we're like celebrating. Yeah, just hold out for eagle. Awesome. I get up there. I don't even take a club. I look up at the green. We're driving. Don't see a ball. We get all the way up. Of course, I can't see all the way down the hill. Get up on top. No ball. I'm like, yes, dunked it. Walk over to the hole all confident. Look down. No ball. I had to step on it. I was like I spun it all the way back, and I rolled off the fringe about 4 inches into the rough, and I had to step on the ball to find it.
Oh,
Made
gosh, yeah.
double.
Did.
Oh, you did? What a stupid asshole.
I did.
Oh,
I'm
man.
kidding. I would have done the same
It was
thing.
bad.
That's-
I mean, it was probably, I bet
Oh,
that
that's
rough was
rough.
probably that long.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so then I just tried to hack it out, and I think the ball went up and rolled right back down onto the collar, and then I bladed the next one.
Yeah, that course can be brutal when the rough is long, man.
Quick
It's-
instructional PSA. Like, I have so many people ask about shots like that, like greenside, short-sided, out of thick rough.
Yeah.
And they're always like, what do I do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Swing hard.
you realize, like, the
Right.
one way to make a tour pro nervous is have them short-sided and thick rough,
Yep.
greenside. Like, just good luck.
Yeah. Swing it like a bunker shot.
Take
That's what
12
most of them will try to
practice
do.
swings and hope you get a feel for it.
It's funny you say that. I had an instant in my qualifier, and you might remember this because it was when that lefty in our group just blew up. He took like a 9.
That was on 9.
No, it
Or
was
no, 10.
because we were on the back 9, so it would have been
He didn't. No, he didn't play like half the round.
17, 18. So I think it was 15, which is kind of the longer par 4 that kind of goes up.
Doglegs, right?
Yeah,
That's my bad because we
subtle.
started on
We started on 10.
the 10, but he
was our
quit.
sixth
he
hole.
Quit at the
He
turn,
quit at the
though.
turn.
Yeah.
But while he's doing this, like I lose a ball, I think, in the right rough. Or no. I hit a ball, think it's gone, hit a provisional, find the original, and I go up with an 8-iron, and the rough is so thick, I hit it, goes 4 feet. Like it's like a bird's nest. And I was like, all right, John, 9-iron.
I immediately felt better about myself.
Right.
But
And
then,
then I
I
hit
would have done the same thing.
And I hit 9, and it looks like it gets up by the green or maybe he's in the bunker. And we get up there, and same thing you're talking about. There's like a foot of rough that's like this tall, and we find my ball like on the mud in the bottom, and I'm like 15 feet from the cup. And it was probably the best shot of the day because I'd like chunked it out and it somehow dribbled to like 5 feet, and I saved bogey, and I was just like, thank you, God.
Yeah.
And I ran to the next tee box.
Simulating U.S. Open conditions.
Oh, my word. Like, that might
I've
have been.
taken some big swipes at some golf balls and stuff like that to not even know where the golf ended up.
Oh,
yeah.
Like, just take a massive chunk of grass out, and I'm like, did I even make contact? I have
You
no
don't
idea.
even feel the ball.
Yeah. And I've gone right underneath
So
it.
disheartening.
I've towed it just like 4 inches to the right. I'm like, oh, I didn't actually hit the ball, I don't think.
Hit a small child.
Yeah, like you have no idea what you're doing. Because when you get into that grass, that grass will push your golf club whatever way that grass is laying.
Right.
So I mean, I've taken some swipes of that. It's like, oh God, that thing is just going straight to my gut, like.
Right.
So I mean, I've done some weird stance adjustments. I'm like, I'm going to swing with the grass and hood the face,
Right.
like
Yeah.
weird shit just
A
to
lot
not
of
have the
people
club just yanked at you.
Pay attention to that, though. The grain.
Right.
Which you should there because that's like the one place where it's obvious,
Right.
like
Yeah.
where the grass is laying.
And it'll definitely move the golf club if you're not
Oh,
careful.
yeah.
Well, around here it is, yeah. I mean, if you're playing Bermuda, good.
No, but bluegrass. Like
Bluegrass is rather
super
obvious.
easy to understand.
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle with Bermuda. I mean, I struggle with chipping with Bermuda just like everybody else. But I don't mind hitting out of Bermuda rough. To me, it's just like the ball just goes to the bottom.
Well, you
just,
can
Kind of,
dig- you
it's
can dig,
tangly,
so-
but it's
Yeah.
thin.
yeah.
So you
So
can cut through
Well,
it.
it can
It's
be.
fine.
yeah, you just don't know you don't know if you're gonna get a flyer.
It
You don't
can
know if
be.
it's gonna come out, heavy.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's gonna come out. But if you try to pick Bermuda like deep rough, that's tough. But I can come down 7 or 8 degrees down, and I have no problem getting through Bermuda rough. The problem is the ball's on dirt.
Yeah.
That's what I find tricky about like Bermuda rough is there's no like root system for the ball to sit up on. Like it sinks down and you're like, oh, this thing's buried, but it's super light. The ball's just on dirt. You just have to be able to pick a ball clean because
Which
most
I'd pick
people
that
just
over thick, deep down
100%.
bluegrass,
100%.
which is pure vegetation.
Yeah.
Makes you think of Faraday every time on the old PGA Tour game. Remember one of his lines in the old PGA Tour game? He'd say, "This is a good lie if you, in fact, happen to be a sheep."
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't think
Like
I
one of
played
the old
that.
Tiger
One of the
Woods
Tiger
games.
games, yeah.
Yeah, I bought a new
He had a lot
PlayStation
of good
5
one-liners.
and the new one, and I've played it like 3 times. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that was a good $600 experiment.
But that's yeah, right. That's why I miss those games though. Like I could totally go back to those because
Oh, I
like just
know.
the Faraday one-liners.
That was
were
so good.
hilarious.
Yeah.
He
I miss
had a
his
number
show.
of
I miss
those.
his show.
Yeah.
His interview show was awesome.
Yeah, that was good.
Faraday?
I forgot about that.
He
yeah.
did really well with it. I don't know.
He had a
Did
lot
he
of
just
cool
get too PC about it or something? Or
I don't. I think he just kind of interviewed like all the greats, and
Yeah,
that was
done.
Kind of ran out.
you know,
because
The-
Golf
the-
Channel has this brilliant way of dividing, like designing good programming and then like running it into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Like Big Break, I thought was phenomenal.
Yeah, I did too.
I thought it was great.
That was.
I loved watching
I
Big
used to
Break.
watch it all the time.
That
I
was-
watched. I mean, I watched
just
Tony
for the glass
Finau.
break challenge.
Yeah, he was like the last season, I think.
Yeah, that
And
was.
he spent a
Oh,
decade
that's
on the
right.
Corn Ferry Tour,
I forgot about that.
which I'd forgotten. I honestly,
Yeah.
like, I remember watching that guy. He was like 19, 18 at
Mhm.
the time, and
Hit
that was
the
when he
ball
had
a
a long
mile.
swing. Yeah, he just crushed it, and they used him to like advertise it because he was just this
Yep.
big strapping kid, and then he disappeared on the Corn Ferry Tour for half a dozen years. And
Pat Perez was on it.
was he really?
Mm-hmm.
On Big Break.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you got to start.
I don't know if he got to start there,
Or got another
or is it his?
It's where you got his
second break? Because he was on tour for a while.
Was it him or his brother? Somebody?
I don't think Pat was on it.
Well, Pat made some guest appearances then.
Okay.
But one of the somebody was on it that I thought it was Pat at the very beginning. I thought it was Pat.
Yeah, might have to Google
But
that one.
well, did he have a brother that tried to play for a while?
Pat Perez.
Yeah,
Fat Perez?
That's not right.
Oh,
I'd love to play some golf with Pat Perez.
he seems like a good guy. You bet.
This pizza is not coming.
No, it
Are
is-
they have they baked it yet?
Nothing's happened. My heart is turning black.
It's officially 2 hours and 15 minutes.
right now they've just set your money up in flames, not the pizza.
$70 of it,
That's what they're using to heat the ovens.
probably.
Yeah,
John's cash.
what a joke. I'm sorry.
In other news, somebody burned down the local Domino's.
Shot up the dominoes.
That's Domino's and Golf Week.
I'm not worried about the money because they'll refund me, but I want my damn food. That's for sure.
Well, you probably should have ordered. We could have DoorDash somebody from. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. We could have done that.
get a DoorDash. it.
Could-
I have failed everybody.
You could call him. Call him right now. See what.
I don't care.
Right in the middle of the podcast,
Yeah.
This is good. My body is fueling itself off of my stored energy.
just be like, "Hey,
I don't have any of that.
hey,
Stored energy.
tell the
He was.
what?
Say it loud so everybody can hear.
What'd you say?" Oh, okay. It's like you're trying to prove a point. I didn't say you were wrong.
No, I was just happy that I was right because I'm not
Oh.
right very often.
Oh,
Ask my wife.
I'm rarely right.
There was another guy that made some. Well, I think Pat Perez came back and made guest appearances after he made it on the tour because he didn't have the long hair when he did the Big Break. Yeah. Yep, I do remember that.
Are they still making that show?
See, Casey Englebrake,
What
I
show?
do remember something
Big Break?
every once in a while.
No.
Except I totally
That's been
forgot to wear
done
my
for-
ring.
That's been done for
don't-
years.
I thought I saw
Sorry.
something that they were bringing it back.
Big break? Not that I know of.
There it is. Look at that. Look at that goober.
That's Pat.
That's Pat.
Oh wow.
Because then
That's
he
crazy.
came back like 4 seasons later after he made it on tour and had the long hair.
He had his own little following though. I mean, he still does like on tour, but he had like his own fan club that. And I remember like going to the Waste Management because we went to the Waste Management and followed him around for a bit.
Well, he interacted with people, you know.
yeah, he's fun.
He responded to people on social media because he didn't have that big of a he didn't have the big following like some of the guys had, but he responded. That's what I liked about him. And he's a car guy, so he's got some sweet cars. Is it potty break time?
Tony Finau and his brother Gipper Finau
Yep.
competed on Big Break 2009.
That's the one who had the brother. Gipper was the brother.
Gipper.
But we did find out Pat Perez was on early on
He was.
with the
Yeah.
short hair, and he came back and made celebrity appearances with the long hair after he made it on tour.
Interesting. So that was him getting on the PGA Tour.
Mhm.
Wow. Because he had, I mean, kind of like a handful of these guys had a pretty
He looked like
decorated amateur tour.
he showed us a picture. He looked like a pedophile that drove a white van.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Dang.
Tommy Gainey was on Big Break.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That's
Two
how I
gloves.
got-
Two gloves, Gainey.
Yeah.
We watched him up close.
Mike Perez. Yes, he was on there too.
Oh.
Because he came. I think Pat came back when Mike was on, and did like guest appearances. But Pat had made it on the tour, like been on for like a year or something like that, and they brought him back and he did like a guest appearance.
Because the only
Yeah.
season I remember vividly was Blair O'Neill,
Mhm.
and then another female that was on there, and I'm spacing on her name, but she's still a tour player. She's LPGA, and I think is
Paige Spranick.
no. No. But she's a PXG. Gosh dang it! Why am I? Is it Gianna? Maybe. She's a Texas girl, but she was really talented. Like very much a gamer, kind of a.
Christy McPherson, maybe, or Jarena Pillar.
That's it.
Oh yeah, Drina
Drina
Pillow. She
Pillar.
was on there.
She was a lot of fun to watch.
I know why you thought she was a lot of fun to watch.
She no, for real. Like
Look
she
up Drina
had
Pillar.
a
You'll
talent.
see why.
She had a very talented swing, and it was just cool to see like somebody actually took that platform and developed into a competitive player. Because so many of those athletes were just splash in the pan, kind of.
Her husband is a Martin.
He's a ball player.
No, he's a golfer.
Oh, golfer. Okay.
Like had a couple seasons on the PGA Tour, but basically was like always fighting for his card on the Corn Ferry Tour.
Oh, gotcha. No, that show needed to come back, dude. That was such a good.
I don't know why that. Yeah, I don't know
Series.
why they took that away. That was a fun show to watch.
Said budget cuts, canceled the show.
Well,
Because they want to have opinion on golf crap all the time and pay Brandel Shamley millions.
well, it's just tough. I mean, so much of this stuff has gone to like YouTube.
Yeah, they can't compete with that stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
I get it.
the YouTube guys are making a ton of money.
They are.
Ton of money.
Yeah.
They just
If
signed
you're
with.
big enough.
Yeah, they just signed with Callaway. All of them. I mean, Callaway. What is Callaway not buying? By the way, like
Oh, I know.
they bought Topgolf.
Right.
They're buying other brands.
Yep.
They didn't buy good, but
Topgolf was a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
they bought Topgolf.
Is that when
Actually,
Top
built a-
Tracer started?
Built
or
a
was that
simulator in
before
one of
then?
those guys' houses.
For the Top Golf guys.
One of the guys that owns. Yeah, he owns like 30 of the buildings.
Yeah, I'm sure he's doing pretty well.
Super nice family. Like one of the nicest people I've ever met. in my
Imperial
life.
around
Golf.
here,
Mhm.
right?
Rising Power.
Really?
Yep.
Invest now.
Okay.
Yep. Older gentleman lives here.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
I tried to do a plug there.
Not surprising.
I didn't hear you. I thought you were just talking about pizza.
That's all I'm thinking about.
I've lost hope on eating tonight,
babbling.
so I'm just
I'm just making shit up until
Eating's
the
a
food gets
bad
here.
habit.
I'm gonna go get some fake beef at McDonald's on the way home, probably.
Pretty much. Get some squirrel meat,
Yeah, whatever it may be.
squirrel burgers.
Yeah. So that's one thing I do.
Yeah, so we can speaking of Topgolf and simulators.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in kind of taking over the Kansas City space a little bit on that.
Well, we are the only company that does the custom builds in Kansas City.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You're gonna come to the rescue on our space.
yeah.
If you had to give us a rating, what is our simulator space out of 10?
Just stop.
I think we know.
Shut up.
One swing. Everyone knows the rules.
Don't
Yeah. That's right.
don't insult a guy that spent 9 years of his blood, sweat, and tears trying to build something.
Oh, don't take it so personal.
I am. I'm gonna go home and cry. About it.
Into your empty pizza.
Yeah.
Crying
I'm gonna
over
go-
a pizza box.
I'm gonna go pick up all 3 of my pizzas and eat them all. Eat them all by myself.
All they're gonna bring you is just the pizza furniture. You're just gonna get the little pizza table. That's all you're gonna get.
I'll just put
Empty
ranch
box.
on it. It'll taste good enough.
A box and a
the
plastic pizza
same.
table,
Ranch makes plastic.
which always
taste
amazed
good.
me that people had no idea what that thing was for.
It's so you can put your pizza on it. Duh.
Right.
It's
So
not that
everybody
big.
knows
How
that
big a
shit.
pizza do you get?
Well, I'm on a diet, so
Oh, just a couple pieces of pepperoni on it.
Stop.
yeah.
Keep your grocery. I am curious though, because we were talking earlier. Obviously, you've got contracting background. Is that kind of how you fell into the golf simulator stuff?
Yeah, so we had been looking. We'd gone out to like the International Builder Show in Vegas, and just doing some trade shows, and we had thought, yeah, it'd be fun to have something like this in the office. And so we started doing some research and looking at some different brands. Wasn't really thrilled with a whole lot of options out there as far as what you could get, because everything was, very generic, or, sim in a box, or then you spend a lot of money for like full swing.
I guess subtleties had its
I didn't
day
say
with
you had
hasn't
sim
it?
in a box. I didn't say you guys had one.
We definitely do.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, you had,
my
when we're talking about like a like spending money on a cool office build.
Podcast is horse shit.
We didn't want to go that route, but the biggest problem that we had, and sim in a box wasn't, I don't even know if it was a thing back then, honestly, when we were looking at it.
I was going to say, when did you start that then?
So we are like literally almost just over 2 years in now.
That's all?
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah, Midwest Golf Innovation was born.
You're already famous.
Yeah,
Amazing.
all the wrong reasons.
It's a very big deal. Very important.
So it was like February of 21 that we basically bought out a competitor, Dave.
Okay.
Funny enough, I had no idea Dave did this. Dave plays on my golf tour. And he's an older gentleman, super nice guy, very quiet. He owned Midwest Fireplace. He started Midwest Fireplace and was very successful with Midwest Fireplace. Big avid golfer. So when he sold Midwest Fireplace to his son, he said, I need something to do. I don't want to go. I don't want to stop. So Dave contacted some different manufacturers, ended up getting in with True Golf, and started selling some True Golf simulators.
Oh, okay.
And it was the sim in a box type stuff, right? They have like the pop-ups that he can go assemble in a half a day, and be done.
Sure.
And then it got to the point where people wanted more, and then they wanted more, and then they wanted more, and he just couldn't handle it.
Sure.
So,
Pre-COVID?
yeah.
Yeah, you're talking a while ago.
So then it was, because he I think he started it in like 2017, 18. He started doing it, and then
Which is when consumer level sims started becoming
kind of started becoming
bigger,
popular. Like
bigger
Full Swing
thing.
was there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's funny how new this tech stuff is with that, too.
yeah, well, Foresight's been around for a long time,
Right.
right? TrackMan's been around for a long time,
Right.
But Foresight was kind of like they've been like the industry leader in like technology for PGA pros, teaching pros, club fitters for a long time.
Yeah.
And then it just got better, but nobody cared about home simulator use, right? Full Swing would do a little bit of it, but it was more corporate stuff, right?
Sure.
Like you have a simulator par, you have a restaurant that you've got 2 simulators in, and Full Swing was one of the only ones that would do kind of a custom build. And I use that term very loosely.
Right.
So that when I found out, I was actually down at the golf stable talking to Kevin, and I was doing, because I do all Kevin's woodworking stuff down there, like all of his epoxy, his live edge club holders. I built all that stuff. So I was down there installing some of this stuff, and Dave walks in, and Kevin had told me, hey, you need to meet my simulator guy. He's trying to sell his business. He's like, he just can't keep up with it.
Oh, he was shopping it then, huh?
Well, so Kevin was just telling me like, hey, this is right up your alley with the construction company. Like, I think you guys could do a good job with this.
No doubt, yeah.
And so I'm down there putting up these club holders, a couple of these club displays, and Dave walks in to replace some panels. And I'm like, this is Dave? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, and Dave's like, Jake? And so we just kind of like, what the? So then we started talking, and, we ended up making him a deal to essentially buy him out, I guess you could say. Really just kind of more or less buy out the competition and his contacts. Because being with Midwest Fireplace, Dave worked with a lot of the big custom home builders in Kansas City.
Sure.
So he had kind of gotten in with those guys a little bit on simulators. Again, they're building $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 million homes and up, and then Dave's putting in, essentially what's True Golf's version of a sim in a box, right? And so it didn't really fit what they were wanting.
Yeah.
And so when he couldn't really kind of keep up with that, that's when we ended up taking it over, and then expanded our purchasing power, I guess you could say. Pulled a couple strings, because Foresight was done at that point of independent retailers. Like, they were not doing independent retailers anymore. Everything was going to go in-house. If you were already a retailer, you were good. But there was nobody in Kansas City. So we were able to use some leverage and pull some strings and get our independent retailer with Foresight. And that's kind of the route we decided to start going. I sold a couple True Golfs, but we had so many problems with calibration and sight. I spent so much time going over, recalibrating, readjusting this, readjusting that. It just wasn't fun. Where
I like
Foresight
their
stuff was so
software. Like
Yeah, E6
was cool.
great.
Because we have it back here, but we just don't use it anymore.
Yeah, they're an E6. I mean, they're a software company. True Golf was a software company.
Sure.
So they've been doing it since you had
Looked
to
really
insert
nice.
disc 2. That's how long they've been doing games, golf games.
A little
So-
while ago.
Yeah. So
Back 9 is disc 2.
yeah, basically. So it was, they've been around a long time with that stuff, and then they've now realized that they need to keep up because you got companies like Unicore that have come out that have a great product at a much more affordable price than the True Golf stuff was, better launch monitor, and now GS Pro software. So you pair that with Unicore, and it's a really tough package to beat. So True Golf has gone back and revisited, and now they're coming out with the Apogee, which is a very, very similar unit to the original Unicore. And they are also redoing their software, which I love GS Pro now. I was nervous at first because there was no API with Foresight, and so it was really difficult to get to integrate. Now they've got it to where it's much, much easier, even though it's not officially supported yet. But yeah, the True Golf, the new software Apex, I think is going to put GS Pro down as far as that goes. But are people going to switch? No, they're not. People are just going to keep using GS Pro. So, but if True Golf has the Apogee, then that'll be great. But anyway, back to the whole shenanigans I was talking about is that's how we got into Foresight. Was we kind of went away from True Golf and got into Foresight, selling Foresight.
Sure.
So, we have some protected territory with True Golf. Nobody else can really be an independent retailer with Foresight in the area. And then we're getting ready to ink our deal with Golf Zone. So we're building 2 right now, Golf Zones. We're in the middle of building 2 of the 2 Vision Pluses, which have the articulating floor and swing plate and everything else that are really cool.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, they're very detailed build.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 of those. One's in Omaha that we'll be buttoning up 20th through the 22nd. And then the other one is I'm just waiting on the builder to get their stuff finished so we can go in and finish it. And that's down here in Overland Park. But yeah, so those are the 3 brands right now that we really work with. And I've got some Unicore builds coming up too. So, but that's kind of how the custom stuff started, I guess, is we went away. I kind of did some stuff the way Dave did, but having a construction company, I was able to go in and just take a blank space and really make it nice and fit and, quality stuff. And so it just kind of started to grow. And then we established, people started following us on Instagram, and we had manufacturers following us. And so we had some people reach out and say, hey, you want to try this out? You want to try this out? And so we just kind of developed some good partnerships with, screen manufacturers, our acoustical panel company.
Yeah, those are cool.
Where we buy our turf and all that stuff from. So, that's kind of how it happened.
Sure.
And I think having the construction company and being able to go into a space and meet with a home builder and know what we're talking about, know what we need.
Yeah.
And if their builder, if their framers don't give us what they need, we can fix it,
Right.
Like it's no big deal. We'll take care of it. So the Golf Zone build we're doing in Overland Park, the builder was supposed to do it. And then he saw the plans and he kind of looked at him and was like, yeah, ain't happening. And so they found us.
They want 90-degree angles.
Yeah. Very
I
basic
grew
stuff.
up in the construction world.
Yeah. 16-inch on center.
Make it
Easy enough.
square. Everything's square.
And it's anything but that because the fact that it's a Korean company. So all their stuff's in millimeters. And so it doesn't translate exactly to inches.
Right.
And when they did the instructions and tried to translate it to inches, things didn't line up. So, I mean, we spent just as much time on the phone with their tech support going through the manual and finding the correct measurements because I'm like, hey, when they translated this, it's all wrong, like millimeters and inches. You've got an overall measurement that says 212, but then if you add up the 3 sub-measurements, it equals 206, and it has to be exact.
Sure.
So when am I making this, 212 or 206? And where do I get that extra or lose it? And he's like, oh my God, I didn't even realize this. So we went through this whole process, and once we got it, we made a template, like a cut sheet, so we know all of our complex cuts, we can just duplicate them. And so it took longer to sort everything out than it did to actually make all the cuts. But once we got it in, got it situated. The builder walked through the house and he goes, and they expected my fucking framers to do this? Yeah, right. You know?
Yeah, right.
So it's like, it's nice to have carpenters that can actually build that kind of complex stuff and, you know.
Well, can do and want to are different things.
Yeah, not those
Again,
framers couldn't do it.
builders,
They just
they
don't.
want
There's
to
no
keep
way
it
they're going to do it.
simple.
Yeah.
They
And
don't-
now you speak
this
Korean,
time.
so that's
Yeah.
great.
I speak very good Korean
To be
English.
fair, the metric system is far better.
I
If we're being honest,
yeah, I would
it's
agree.
far superior.
Yeah.
Just
Way
simpler.
cleaner.
Yeah.
Precise.
Well, it's consistent. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So our imperial system's kind of dumb.
Agreed. But so is the English language if you think about
Yeah.
it.
This is true. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's that's that's kind of where we went with it. Is we went to the full scale, full custom build, and it's been a lot of trial and error and time and money and
Yeah.
doing something and then not being happy with it and redoing it at no cost to the customer. And I mean, we had some builds at the beginning when we started to kind of move things around that we lost $4 or $5 grand on because I wasn't going to leave it.
Yeah.
I'm
Learning
in
curve.
somebody's $5-6 million house. I'm not going to leave something that I look at and go, I am not happy with that.
You can't.
Sure.
That business.
Some people
type,
could. I can't.
That kind of business ain't gonna survive with half-ass results.
Yeah, you're not going to
It's
have
it's
Right.
too specialty.
and the
it needs to be
the builds
awesome.
that we do and the
Yeah.
people that we build for typically run in the same circle, right?
Yeah.
They all kind of know each other, whether they live up north or live down in Loch Lloyd.
Oh,
If
sure.
I say the name, oh yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, I know him. Yeah, I was over at his house. It's like
It's a reputation business.
all these guys run in the same circle, right? Because you have to have some disposable income to do like a full custom build.
For sure.
Which makes it fair to want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're spending some money.
Yeah, if you have expectations, yeah.
So
And
like
we want to
entry
be
level for your custom builds. I mean, if you threw a dollar amount out there, I'm curious to see like what your thoughts are on that because we were talking a little bit about dollar amounts and stuff earlier. Like, what's a good budget for those custom builds in your estimation?
entry level.
Yeah.
40.
Okay.
Largely depends on unit, I would imagine, and then how much you're customizing out the space.
So the big variables are launch monitor
Right.
and projector.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Those are the big two variables.
Not including the construction variables. If you had to do some modification.
Yeah, but so let's say it's just the builder. Like a lot of times, the builders like to control as much as they can, right?
Yeah.
So I meet them, I tell them where I need power. We outline everything on the floor, on the studs.
Yeah.
I need power. I need data. I need this. I need this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's nice when you're starting out. Yeah.
So it's done. So we go over blockings in place, all that stuff. Let's just say it's a bare bones. We've got what we need, and somebody wants GC Hawk.
Yeah.
And when I say mid level, I mean I'm still talking in a premium projector circuit, but in the mid level range of a premium projector, you're still talking 65 grand.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and then they go up from there based on
Sure.
you want JC video, do you want a big ass badass Barco projector, do you want a big ass Epson Pro Series projector? I mean,
Right.
we've got projectors in people's houses and businesses that are 20, 25 grand.
Good grief.
So,
Puke.
yeah. So it's kind of like, I mean, it is. It's just a matter.
When are they going to be like TVs where they're actually affordable?
No kidding.
Yeah. Right.
It's just
Maybe
a light
someday.
bulb.
Yeah. Not anymore. They're laser, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a
Going
consultant.
away from bulb projectors.
I consulted
Right?
for that's all lasers now.
It's all laser, yeah.
I consulted for a build in Atlanta, and they were telling me, what the guy was doing, where he was building it, and blah blah blah. And they were talking about all the windows that he had behind this thing. It was like a pool house, big sliding door and windows and all this other stuff. And I was like, does this guy know what kind of projector he's going to have with all those lights? Like,
Right,
dude, he's going to spend
yeah.
big money. And they go, his projector or the guy tells me, he goes, just so you know, at his pool outside, he has a screen that pops out of the ground on one end of the pool, and on the other side behind his hot tub, he's got a projector that raises out of the ground, and he can watch it during the day. I'm like, what?
His
He goes,
projector is the sun.
He said $287,000 projector.
What?
Yeah.
To have out at his pool.
Yeah.
To just watch movies while he's sitting in his hot tub.
Outdoors.
I'm going to
Wrap
go
back
home and contemplate my whole life now.
We're in the wrong business.
What have I done wrong?
Yeah. I was just
Everything.
like, you've got to be kidding me.
So
man.
with that, I mean, you've kind of hinted at some of that stuff with your growth potential. I mean, did you see this being like a national brand at some point then? Is that something you desire to see happen?
So I've got a buddy of mine that he's kind of started his own thing, but we had talked about potentially franchising out with him. And,
Yeah.
you know, I walked him through some of the builds and how we do them and stuff like that. And he's down in North Carolina.
Okay.
And he's done 3 or 4 now, and they look great. But, you know, it's just, I think the biggest problem is because we're not such a volume dealer like you have with, you know, like online, like Carl's Place or One Stop Sim Shop or any of these places that do just volume, and retail sales. We don't get the breaks that everybody, like some of these other companies get, right? Like the reason I don't retail for Unicore is because the retail program's freaking awful. You know, it's such a bad program. And
Gotcha.
okay, it's not worth the 3% that they wanted to give us. Like, that's not worth it. I'll build with your product, but I'm not going to give you every one of my leads for $300.
So you're saying you need a HGTV like sim home build show to like push your brand national?
You may not necessarily want to push your brand national.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Business isn't always about limitless growth.
right. It's
There's a
giving
sweet
people
spot
something that only certain
for
people
every
can
business.
attain, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
It's why, you know, car manufacturers limit some of their cars, right?
Yeah.
People want it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think in Kansas City, we probably build, when people see it, you know, people that can afford it, if they had to pick between like one of our builds and like a full swing kit and they just put them side by side, they're going to go, I want their build. I don't want the full swing kit. I want their build.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that's the big thing for us is that we want to be able to stand up to what anybody else has to offer. And people can go, that's what we want to go with.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And we've seen your work, dude. It's phenomenal. So we're excited to see you help us fix our dumpster fire.
It's not that bad.
No, it needs to match.
This fucking guy.
It needs to
So,
match
like,
the training, you know. It needs to match the training you get up here. It needs the
bet.
sim room needs to be as good as the training you get up here.
You bet. Yeah.
How's that make you feel?
I think I'm switching to liquor.
I love getting a rise out of him.
Oh, it's easy,
I don't
isn't
get
it?
it very much.
Yeah,
It's easy.
not too different.
It's just because I know what buttons to push. That's all.
You don't understand how much I play along
I'll dig to find them all.
to make you look good because I'm selfless. So fuck all y'all.
Oh man. How's that pizza tasting, by the way?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know you want it too.
Gidget's, I guarantee Gidget is that door is locked.
Gidget's fired.
And he's gone home. Ain't nobody getting their pizza that order
He
past
just
7
canceled
o'clock.
all the orders.
Yep.
Yeah.
You didn't cancel him. He just left.
Yeah.
Corporate can figure this shit out later.
I'm starting to think Gidget's not a human being.
I've told you it was the pizza oven said, I'm preparing your pizza, except I got no fingers.
And I can't drive a car.
Do it if I could.
That's just the automated response you got.
Man.
Send it via drone.
Remember,
drop
someday.
this wasn't my pizza. It was your pizza. It's
That's one of the
all of your pizza.
I'm full.
Speaking of drones, that's like one of the best things that's come to golf is those high-speed drones, being able to like chase a golf ball after it's
That
been
is
hit. That's
epic
awesome.
footage. That, no doubt. That is really cool.
Yeah, those drones are. I mean, the guys that drive those things, fly those, whatever you call it, fly those things. Drive. You're not really flying it. I guess you're remote controlling it. Holy shit, those guys are impressive.
Piloting.
Yeah.
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 That is, dude. Those things are flying.
Like the same guys that do those like drone races and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My head can't
The-
process
the-
it
I know.
enough.
Well, the
I'd be right through a
crazy-
wall every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean they're wearing
The
the
VR goggles.
yeah, which is like
Uh-huh.
that's got to be trippy as shit if you're not used to it.
I would have a heart attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would literally think I ran through the wall every single time I took off. Because those drones do what, like 0 to 120 in like
Oh, it's just
1.2 seconds or half a sec. I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah.
I have a hard time processing video game speed, like let alone that stuff. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. And when you watch the
VR.
Formula One drivers, when they show the helmet,
Oh,
view,
man.
it's like, how do you do that?
I would love
How
that.
do you react that fast?
I would too. I'd get such a. I still
My dream is
like
to
I have a
just
truck
get
and I'm
on
like
a real
Apex baby, hit the Apex.
Oh yeah. My dream is just to get on like a real like F1 sim, let alone like a F1 car. Like not many people ever get that.
We were gonna
experience.
try to put three.
They
of
do
those
have an
in.
F1 driving experience, but it's super exclusive, very hard to get into.
Yeah, but do you know how much the F1 sims are? I did some
Oh.
research on these.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm interested.
about 110 grand a piece.
That's not shocking.
Yeah, and you have to have a franchise.
That's cheap.
You have to have a franchise?
Mm-hmm.
You have to own an F1 company?
No,
Oh.
there's a franchise company over in Europe right now.
Oh, okay.
And so they're the ones.
You have to own the racing company.
Are you Mercedes or McLaren or Ferrari? Now you can own
Yeah.
one.
They actually have the tubs, like the full tub of a car.
Yeah.
It's the whole monocoque, basically.
Yeah.
And you're sat up in it like
The screen
one
goes
driver.
like all around you,
Yeah.
and you're in the cockpit, and
It's
like the front of the
fully
car is in
mobile.
front of you, and then on the screen, the wheels are part of this. Like they're
Yeah.
on the screen, but it looks like they're connected to your cockpit.
It's fully mobile.
It's full panorama.
Yep. The whole
all on
thing. Oh, it's
A
hydraulic.
lot of them
crazy.
have, they have actuation. And
So you can get the ones that have movement, and they're just like the cage exoskeleton, and they're like $20,000.
yeah,
So I mean they're not as expensive,
cheap ass.
but these other ones that are like the full tilt ones, I'm like, oh my god, I did not realize it was getting that expensive.
Oh yeah.
Poor people, 20 grand.
But you're talking about the same units that drivers are using, though.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
which by the way, still will never touch the real thing.
No.
Same thing with golf.
Because you can't crash,
Yeah.
you can't die.
You can't. Yeah, exactly. Just like you.
That's a whole other level of fear.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
same thing happens on golf sims.
Oh, 100%.
You don't have the same fear of
Not even a
OB
simulator.
or water
Driving
or
range.
Oh.
anything. Yeah.
Take
Sounds
your
like you
driving
can't
range
die in
game
golf.
to the golf course.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess you could die in golf.
Yeah.
I can't.
Hang out when the thunderstorm rolls around.
Yeah.
Well, you play the wrong golf course. It's a shooting gallery. During COVID golf, you might get tagged. I got drilled at Prairie Highlands. Oof. Right in the back, right in the lower spine.
I almost hit a guy with a golf club once.
Intentionally, or
Because you were
No,
angry.
unintentionally. World Tour hole 1 down in Myrtle Beach. I was playing in one of our events,
Yeah.
and it's a replica of
Is that
St. Andrews.
Yeah, that's the
so
St.
it's
Andrews
like
hole,
100 yard wide fairway, hole number 1. And I push it right into the trees over the cart path with a 4-iron.
so you're telling me you're in a hotel room?
Missed 100 yard
Iron off the
with
tee.
Wow.
And so my tee was sticking up a little out of the ground. I just went to knock the tee out of the ground, and the club it was 110 degrees, so the club just slipped straight out of my hand, and it hit the cart and the guy was sitting in the cart looking at the scorecard, and it just the club head hit the support pole right next to his head. He's like,
I think I remember you telling me about this in class the next
yeah.
I thought I was going
tag.
to impale a friend of mine. So I had a little bit of an anger issue with golf. I've gotten a lot better because now I had expectation to be a good golfer when I was playing a lot and practicing. And
that'll
so
happen.
when you got used to shooting low 70s, high 60s, and then you just stop having time to practice and play, and your game just gradually gets worse.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. Took me a long time to adjust to. You're just not that good anymore. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. And I was breaking clubs left and right. And I was at a tournament and down in Branson actually, and we were at Buffalo Ridge, and we were on hole 16, I think, 15 at Buffalo Ridge. The real beautiful par 4. So you have the par 5, that long par 5 that tees off on the right.
Yeah.
The green's up on the right. Then you have that par 4 that's beautiful right next to the creek. Blast the first one into the water. And I have a 3-wood. And I knew how to snap a club. I was no problem snapping a club. Could do it with one hand.
I was a pro.
You could just stare it down and it would break.
I just knew the flip. I knew the flip. I knew that if I went like that, flung it down hard enough, the head was going down. Right as it hit, I would just go flunk on the top of the shaft, and that son of a bitch would just snap in half. And it did, poof, and that handle, my buddy was standing closer than you are, and I went wham, and that handle went boom, and the broke part of the shaft went right by his face. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. He's like, that's all right. I'm like,
Almost died. It's fine.
All right, yeah, just stabbed you.
take an eye out or something like that. And I was
Yeah.
like, Jake, you got to freaking calm it down. Don't be a dickhead on the golf course.
Yeah. Breaking clubs. That'll shake you up.
That's why I bought a really
I don't
expensive
remember the
shaft
last
in my
time
new
I did
3-wood, so I don't break it.
Yeah.
I think if it's expensive enough, I haven't broke my putter because it's $1,000 putter. So
Yeah,
I just don't get that angry.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I more just check out. I'm like, we're just having fun today.
yeah, but I forget about it real quick. I snap a club and I'm okay. We're on. Move on to the next shot.
I would
You
hope
know?
so.
And
Was
I don't
it
stew over it.
you? Was I with you at Arrowhead? I think it was you and me playing Arrowhead in Myrtle Beach that one day where that guy chucked his brand new Scotty Cameron in the water.
Oh my god.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
He was like bragging about it. I don't even remember who he was. It was just a random dude we were paired up with. And we got to like the 18th hole and he like fucking 4-putted or something.
Probably a pro putt.
But he was like, I just bought this Scotty Cameron. And he put the head cover on. He's like, fuck it. And he just chucks it in the water.
Did he go swimming after?
Should we
it?
go after that? Because that's worth some money.
Right. Throw that on eBay
And
real
I'm
quick.
a broke college kid.
I think I saw a Circle T on the bottom of that thing. As it
Yeah,
was
if there
flipping
weren't
over my
water
head.
moccasins in every pond in Myrtle
Wasn't
Beach.
that was me and you, right?
That
It was
sounds
just.
familiar.
I think it was just me and you. I don't think anyone else was with us.
I had a putter from a company called Infinite Putters, and they make like limited runs of putters, and it's a blued putter. I mean, it's a beautiful putter. It actually feels amazing, and it had one of the stability shafts in it,
Oh yeah.
which I didn't realize how easy those things are to break. Like ridiculously easy to break because the bottom part of the steel part of the shaft only goes like that far into the carbon fiber.
Oh yeah. So
it's a
splits
really
there,
weak
yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
and you found it.
Oh yeah. We're playing Old Kinderhook in a tournament, and I'm hitting the ball beautifully, and I cannot freaking buy a putt. Lip out, lip out, lip out, lip
That's
out.
the worst.
I think I lipped out the first 4 holes, and I lipped out like I was on for birdie. I'd hit the putt, couldn't get the speed down. I was 5 feet by, 3 feet short, and then every putt lip out bogey, lip out bogey, lip out bogey. I was so frustrated. So we get to the 5th hole. I hit a great tee shot right down the middle of the fairway, and I'm waiting. The guys get off the green. Well, there's a cart girl over there, so they're getting their drinks. So I'm like, okay. I'm waiting for the guy behind me to hit. He hits. I go to hit. I'm like 186. Got a 6-iron, and so I'm standing over the ball, and then she hits the gas pedal on the cart, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm the guy that I'll hear a squirrel fart like 4 holes over and have to back off. Like I could be in the middle of my swing and hear just a
My
Oh.
little.
new favorite. line.
Using that every time.
I always talk about squirrel's head. Now
You
it's
do.
squirrel fart.
Yeah.
But I'll be in the back of my swing and I'll hear
From me.
something from 4 holes away, and it will take me. I'll lose complete focus, and I'll just and I'll chunk it or something like that. So like I'm starting my swing, and she hits the gas pedal, and I'm like, oh nope, we're gonna back off. And I was like, I'm proud of myself. I backed off and just didn't chunk this thing in the water, blade it into the water. She comes down, and this is the hole where the fairway comes, or the cart path comes across the fairway, and there's water on the right. I don't know if you ever played Old Kinderhook. It's a great course.
Not yet.
So I wait, and she pulls up, and she kind of comes partially up in the middle of the fairway, but stops. And she's like, oh. I'm like, okay, I guess she's going to wait now. So I go up. I get to the top of my swing, and she hits the fucking gas pedal. And I just throw the club down and blade this thing straight into the water, and I'm looking at her. I don't even watch the ball. I knew what it did. I look at her, and she just drives right on by. I'm like, she should just be giving me the bird or something at this point.
Yeah.
I
Did
thought
that on
you were
purpose.
giving her the bird.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at her like, what the fuck are you doing? And she just drives right on by. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And it was an APT event, and one of the guys that was putting it on was like watching this. He was like, I can't believe she just did that. And the guys I was with were like, are you?
Damn it, Rebecca!
Yeah. The guy was like, are you kidding me? So I go up, I drop, hit my next shot. Of course, I pull it left, but I'm on the green, but I'm 15 feet. I lip it out, and I just went wham right over my toe. Didn't think I was like gonna break the putt. Like I've done that before. Snapped that motherfucker right there, right where that shaft is. Had to go grab a wedge to putt out.
I was gonna say you didn't use your 6-inch putter the rest of the day.
No, didn't. But I was
That's something we would have done.
I was 5 over par. I was 5 over par after 5 holes, and I putted the rest of the round with my wedge, and I shot 79. So
Go.
Good for you.
Par the back 9 with a 7-iron.
Would have been more impressive with your 6-inch putter. But
I know
It would've,
well,
yeah.
It was. I probably would have had some splinters. Fat and out of shape. There's no way I was leaning
and a
over. on
thrown
that
out
thing.
back.
Yeah. Yeah. And the worst part is I still lipped out. I think I lipped out 4 birdies with a wedge on the back 9.
So you're
you
saying
were
it wasn't
not
the
making
putter.
shit that day.
It wasn't the putter. My only birdie that entire day. I had 3 bogeys the rest of the round
Were your eyes crossed?
with a wedge. My only birdie was the 18th hole.
My prescription isn't working.
All I see is the edge of the hole.
I just started throwing darts too. I'm like, I don't have a putter. I don't want to leave 10 footers. So like 2 holes later, I hit the flagstick on my second shot. I'm in a divot
Did
in
it
the
lip
fairway.
out?
hit the. No, it bounced away about 6 feet. But my only birdie putt was 18th hole that I made.
Fucking John. Wound, open, salt.
I couldn't get much worse after that. I mean, it was just one of those days, man, where it was like, you're not making.
Hey.
I mean,
They're the worst, though. When you hit the ball that well and you can't putt, like, I don't know that there's more of a frustrating feeling as a good player.
well, and you feel like you're a good putter. Like I've always
the other way around.
felt like putting bailed me out. Like my guys I play with were like, yeah, you were one of the best putters I've ever played with, because I wasn't a long ball hitter.
Sure.
So I'd get up and down again. I'd have to hit long irons into greens. So to have that frustration was just terrible, man.
Yeah.
And then to be able to just turn it around with a wedge, and all of a sudden, I still didn't make anything. I didn't make shit the rest of the round until 18.
Yeah.
And one of the guys I was playing with, the older guy, he just kind of laughed. He goes, you have got to make something. He's like, you have hit too good of shots to not. And I said, again, I probably lipped out 4 more birdies with a wedge. I started hitting shots like 2 feet. Lip it out. Lip it out. And I'm like, God dang it. I don't know if I'd make it with a putter at this point. It was so frustrating.
Well, yeah, you weren't. That's why you broke it.
Yep. Yeah. So that putter is still not fixed. I have the head though. I didn't throw it in the
Clearly,
wall.
it doesn't know how to work. So,
But I have left some shafts in the fairways before. 2 on 1 course, actually.
amazing.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, but I've calmed down a lot now. So it's.
Anger management's worked.
I just realized I'm not that good. I don't practice. I haven't.
Yeah.
I don't know the last time I've ever had a range session, or like a day at the range.
Yep.
Just
Even if you were that good, turns out
didn't matter.
not productive being
Yeah.
angry.
No, just
No.
cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
I reshafted a lot of clubs.
Yeah.
So
Oh man.
Well, Jake, thanks for coming on the show with us here.
4-hour podcast.
Yeah.
Seriously.
If you too would like to have these wonderful experiences on the Amateur Golf Tour, go ahead and sign up.
If you two would like to know what it's like to wait for 3 hours for pizza and never get it, come
Call
on the
Domino's.
Imperial right. Where John tries to be nice and get you food, but he can't. Because
I think he's
Domino's
just lying and didn't want to buy me food.
I literally have
out
the
like never
emails.
has
Mad enough.
I literally have the emails to prove it because I've been tracking it through this whole podcast. Because all I care about is food right now.
Oh.
And if you are in the market for
Oh.
an indoor golf simulator,
Yeah, he's your guy.
Midwest-
Golf Innovations.
Midwest Golf Innovations.
Yep. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook.
Is it in the oven?
Order canceled.
Oh,
That's how
Order canceled.
competent they are.
they just said no more.
2.5 hours later.
That
Yeah, we're not gonna make it.
I don't think you need to order from Domino's anymore.
They don't close
Is
till like
that
2 a.m.?
grounds for like obviously they'll refund me, but like is that grounds for being like, yeah, y'all should give me like some free pizza? Or
I
some
bet if you
shit?
complain
Oh,
enough.
100%.
Yeah.
And like that's hard for me to do.
If you were a
'cause I'm
Karen,
actually
you'd get
not,
free pizza.
I'm not that guy. Like I don't
Right.
like being that guy that whines.
Was it a Friday night? They're open till 2 a.m. Like they couldn't get your order in by then. They're just like, oh, I got to cancel it.
Apparently.
Not
I mean, I think you have a gripe with Domino's though. Like it's
Anybody
hey,
know any Karens?
Screenshot it and tag Domino's on Instagram.
because
You never
Domino's
know.
just made like didn't they just like rebrand and come out with this deal, and like are you not taking care of your employees where you can't get any people to work, or is it that bad? Like is this California?
Well,
I mean,
that's what happened.
dude, everybody
this is
can't
now the
find
second
employees.
time, right?
No.
Because we had that
Right.
Domino's order a couple.
Oh boy, we got to cut this podcast off. All right. Thanks for watching.
Have a good night.
See you guys next
Podcast.
time.
Cut.